Hey guys, so I went ahead and ordered from one of those meal service kits, but instead of HelloFresh, I actually chose EveryPlate, and my box just came in. Let's take a look and see what's inside. Alright. Let me find the sharp part of my knife here. Let's go about this. Now, I have never done anything like this before, and I know most of you guys probably haven't either, so I thought I would try it out. Ooh. Perks from our friends. Special offers inside. So I got a $100 wine voucher from Naked Wines. That's cool. My wife might really like that. And I think there's something else in here. And there's a few other, gift cardy things. And we've got our recipes here. I have pork sausage and sweet potato risotto, Tuscan herbed chicken, and Gravy Lovers meatballs. Now what's really cool on this is it tells you exactly what comes in the box, and then the back has the steps, which I think is pretty cool. And then it comes in this sealed packet. That legit just has everything in it. This is pretty cool. We're gonna see how this works. Ooh. So I got one box. Then I got dry ice. I've got the meat portions. Make sure there's nothing else hanging out the bottom down here. And there's not. Okay. Just double checking. Kick that off to the side. Check this out. So I got the sweet Italian pork sausage links, some boneless, skinless chicken breast, and some 8515 ground beef. So I got one pouch that's got all of my sauces. They're pretty well labeled too. That's cool. Of course, pasta, sage, my arborio rice. Nice. Bread, cheese, sweet potatoes. Wow. Pretty nice, isn't it? So here in a little bit, we are going to try to cook one of these and see how it comes out. Alright, so after some cleanup time, change into my cooking clothes, we're ready to get this started. Now, I went and read through the instructions here pretty thoroughly, and there are two things. One, step 4 is in the wrong spot. That's not good. 2, it also doesn't tell you what temperature to use on your oven. So I went ahead and just preset my oven for 450 because that's what you roast stuff at. And we're actually going to move step 4 to step 3. Because once you start stirring this, you're not really going to have the hand to do the next step. So that's where we're going to go. We are going to start with prep. The first thing is to peel, is to peel and cut everything down to what you need. We're going to start with peeling and cutting the sweet potatoes. Once your potatoes are peeled, we're going to go ahead and cube these guys. Once these guys are cubed, we are just going to move these onto a baking tray lined with tinfoil. And we're done with those for a little bit. Your next step is going to be to peel and dice your onion. And what you want to do for that is leave the hairy end alone. And I cut the other end because it gives me a pretty good spot to peel my onion a little bit. And then split it right in half. And from half, you are able to peel back your onion skin. Now, if you wanted to, you could save those onion skins for something like a stock. Now, I'm going to go ahead, and because this says a small dice, I'm going to split my onion almost completely in half, but leave the bulb intact. And then you're just going to go through like this. And go as close to the bulb as you can. Remember. Now this recipe card says to small dice this full onion. So that's what I'm going to do. But if your household doesn't necessarily like onion, you don't have to do that. I'm looking ahead a little bit, and it's telling me I'm going to need a medium-high heat. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat my pan. After that, our next step is to dice 2 cloves of garlic. Don't buy the pre-minced stuff. I mean, I do it sometimes when I can't find it. But if you can find just regular old garlic, go with it. It's so much better. Go ahead and give this a little bit of an extra zhuzh. We're just going to push this with the back of our knife off to the side, separate from the onion. You guys have seen me use the store-bought minced garlic a few times, but it is only when I cannot get just whole cloves of garlic from the store. And I will admit that the store, the town that I live in, not the store that I live at, I live in a house, not a store. The town that I live in, it's not the best about keeping certain produce in like it should. The next step here is going to be to take this sage and remove the sage leaves from the stems. And it's like as simple as that. And once all of the leaves are removed from the stems, take the leaves and you're just going to chop them down. When those are chopped up, you're going to take your lemon and just a small bowl, take the cover off your zester. If you don't have a zester, you can actually use just the potato peeler and then chop it up. Our next step is actually to take 4 cups of hot water and mix our chicken concentrate, our chicken stock concentrate that they sent with that. Honestly, it looks kind of like peanut butter when it comes out. Ooh, that's toasty. Alright. Pull that piece of sage out of there. Give this a good stir. And you actually want this to stay pretty hot And with our oven preheated already, I'm actually going to go ahead and just set that right there. Because when you're working with risotto, you want your liquid that you're pouring in to have a good heat to it. Alright, the last step of step 1 is to remove the sausage from their casings. This is the sausage they sent me, just a sweet Italian pork sausage. With no easy way to open it. Once again, I'm resorting to the old kitchen shears. Like I said, I recommend having 2 pairs, a cheap pair for opening stuff, and then a good pair for like cutting up meat and stuff like that. And just remove the sausages from the casings. I can go in my trash bin. Now, if your sausages are a little colder than, like if they just came out of the fridge, you can use your knife to go ahead and break them up, but otherwise they should break up pretty well on your own. Alright, so on to step 2. We've already got our pan preheated. So we are going to add a tablespoon of olive oil and a tablespoon of butter. Give this, we're actually going to turn our heat down a little bit because it's bubbling a little bit more than I would like, but we are just melting this butter down. But we don't want to brown the butter. Once that butter is melted, we're going to take all that onion we just cut and dump it straight into this pan. Alright. We're going to give this a stir. And then salt and pepper. Now here's the thing here is a lot of people who cook at home don't tend to actually use enough salt. That's why I have replaced salt with salty tasting liquids for the most part. Alright. And we're just going to cook these down until they're soft. After 3 or 4 minutes, when these have taken on a good color and softened up quite a bit, we're going to start adding our garlic, and about a tablespoon of your sage. Mix that in. And it doesn't say it, but I'm actually going to push it all to the side before I do the other part of this step. And that, let's put our sausage in the pan. Once the sausage is in the pan, you're just going to try to cook the sausage, break up the sausage and cook it until it's browned. And by breaking up the sausage, it will only take 3 to 4 minutes max. We got our sausage starting to break up. Now we can start to combine. And you want to break that sausage down as far as you can so that you get sausage throughout the entire dish. You don't want to have one big bite of sausage with nothing else. And now is where we're going to diverge from the cooking a little bit, because it says now to go ahead and start our rice. But here's a little something that you may not realize. Our rice takes 25 to 30 minutes. Our sweet potatoes take about the same amount of time in the oven. Anything, they can actually stand to go for a few more minutes than that. There we go. We're going to let that brown a little bit while we work on the next part. Alright, that's cooking away over there. While that's happening, we're going to take about a tablespoon of olive oil. Put that on your sweet potatoes. Give it some salt and some pepper. And then we're actually just going to take our same spatula that we've been using and give it a pretty good mix. You want to try to get olive oil on all of it. And if you need to, it is not going to hurt for you to add extra olive oil. And get in there with the best utensil you have, your hands. Try to get these into a pretty even layer. And we're just going to pop these in the oven at 425 for 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so our sausage is browned, and the next step is to add the rice to the pan. And this is arborio rice, which is traditionally used for risotto. And you just want to stir this in here until it starts to turn translucent. So you're going to let this cook like this for a little bit. Maybe 3 or 4 minutes. Alright, so 3 or 4 minutes later, your arborio rice has started to go translucent around the edges. And we're going to take that stock we made earlier out of the concentrate. We're going to take about half a cup and pour it in. Now, pretty much for the next 25 to 30 minutes, you are going to stir and stir and stir. Alright, so when your liquid is almost completely gone, take your cup again and just add more and keep stirring. It has been about 30 minutes and our risotto is not quite ready, but oh no, our sweet potatoes are over. So, the reason we squeeze the lemon over our hand is to catch any seeds that might fall. We're going to stir that in. Then we're going to stir in the Parmesan, 1 tablespoon of butter, and some lemon zest. And once that Parmesan is all melted and combined, and the butter is thoroughly melted, before you add in your potatoes, you need to taste for salt and pepper. Give it a bit more salt. And a touch of pepper. And stir to combine all that in. And you can see that the risotto part came out nicely. Alright, so I was able to save about half of that sweet potato. There are still some burnt bits in there, but this lesson is don't trust the timers they give you. Because some things do vary from stove to stove and oven to oven. So gently fold those in there. And now, it's plate-up time. Alright, so we got our plate. I will say that the sweet potato is really the only bit of color difference that you get in there. So this is supposed to make 2 portions, so I just kind of split it in half. Put a little bit of lemon zest on top. Serve with a lemon on the side. And grab a spoon. Alright, so here's the test. This is my wife, the picky-ish eater. Let's see how good it is.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Something you would like to eat again or no?
Yeah, maybe a little less lemon, but, you know.
Alright. Well.
Bye.
Well, I guess that gives it to you. She ran off with it. Alright, so my wife stole my plate. I'm going to make myself a plate, and then I'm going to call it a day. I mean, my only real takeaway from this is to not trust the timers that they give you. The portions on this were actually pretty good, other than the amount of meat to rice. Otherwise, I'd say it's alright. It was a pretty good deal, but this did have a $20 off on the first order, so that might be something to think of. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Let's get cooking.